But Dave, let's end the podcast with a fun segment, especially for me, because we are going to talk about what trades will we see on draft night. And I know we already talked about like Jarrett Culver and the Celtics and the Hawks moving up, but this is where we get to get fun. Mm-hmm. This is where we get to throw out trades that are like, you know what? I don't know if this is going to happen.
But it could.
But could it happen? And how we're basically going to do it is I've got some ideas in my head of teams that are looking to move or looking to trade for things. Mm-hmm. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to throw them out to you. You answer, and then we kind of start a conversation. And then when that's over, we'll move to the next one, and next one. And I'll throw you up a little softball lob here. Mm-hmm. The first one I want to throw your way, the Thunder at 21. What are your thoughts? Will we see the Thunder trade out of the first round and give someone the 21st overall pick in the draft?
This seems highly likely in my world. The Thunder, as you had talked about during our 7.0 mock draft, which you guys can check out on our YouTube channel, it's 2 hours of fun. 2 hours of fun.
Take that, Mike.
Take that, Mike. That was great. They're stuck in a cap situation where they need to get young, cheap talent, and the best way to do that is second rounders or undrafted free agents. So if they can move out of that first round and get something back for it, I see them swinging that route because it just adds up. They need shooters. They need guys who can add some offense, which I think in this year's draft in the second round, you'll be able to find a couple of those guys. Yes, Cam Johnson at this point might feel like a little bit of a reach, but he's the guy who, like, if they had to take someone in the first, I could see that one going. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, I'm leaning go later, get a couple cheaper guys, non-guaranteed contracts, take care of yourself.
Well, the main reason why this is coming to light, because I'll read it here. According to a report from the Athletic Shams, the Thunder have talked to multiple teams about trading the 21st pick in effort to reduce their massive financial burden. As currently constructed, the Oklahoma City 2019-2020 payroll is at $144.5 million, with only 9 players under contract, with the projected luxury tax line at 139 or 132 million. The Thunder are guaranteed to be at minimum 15 million into the luxury tax. And that's big. They don't need to take on any more big contracts. They don't need to take on a first round talent that is going to be set at a certain salary mark. So, like, for me, the first thing I was thinking is, what do the Thunder want with this? Do they just basically want to throw this pick out there for 2 seconds and like, hey, we'll take 2 guys in the second because they're cheaper, and then that brings us to 11, and then like free agency, like,
and they've got some good ability to develop, young athletic talent too.
Exactly.
They got a history.
With me, it's the whole thing of, are we going to try to find a trade partner that will take some of our larger contracts, we'll take someone in return, and have to give them the 21st pick because they're basically taking our contracts. And
what contracts did you have in mind?
Well, there's one that I threw out in our mock that, I'll be honest, I used from hoopshabit.com, where if they made a trade with the Bulls, taking on a Chris Dunn, a Denzel Valentine, where in this case it's, hey, Denzel Valentine is trash. Chris Dunn is not really that good, but they're cheap.
How much cheaper than Dennis Schroeder are they?
Dennis Schroeder is what?
15.5.
15?
Yep.
Let's see. I just had Bulls.
Because I'm looking for considerable savings, not just a little bit of savings here.
This would be, and the whole reason I put it is, so you said Schroeder's at 15?
15.5.
Let's see. Chris Dunn is at...
They're both ending rookie deals right now, I believe.
So he's at 5.3, and Denzel's at 3.3.
So they'd be saving about $7 million.
8.6.
Yeah.
8.6. So you're getting $7 million off of that. That one, to me, is also, they're done at the end of the year. I know that doesn't help for 1920, but they're not long contracts. But the Bulls would get Dennis Schroeder and then the 21st pick. Here's an interesting one, because before we started recording tonight, the Suns have made one of these guys available.
Both of these guys.
Here's another. Well, this one only has one of them.
Okay.
So
I'm
Hoops Habit,
jumping the gun.
the next one, the Thunder would get T.J. Warren, which let me pull up his contract really quick. Where's Phoenix?
He signed to a couple years. He just re-signed. He just signed a contract long term with them last season.
So he's going to be at 10.8 this year.
Yep.
So a little bit more expensive.
Yep.
But the Suns would get Dennis Schroeder and Pat Patterson. So
Pat.
that 15.
Pat is $5.7 million.
So that's what, 20? They're basically giving up 10 million or freeing up 10 million.
Yeah.
And the Suns would also get the 21st overall pick.
Which sounds like a high value for what was rumored just moments ago.
Go ahead
where they
say
said Josh Jackson and TJ Warren both potentially available if anyone's interested. But, and this is from Cittery, they would expect the value to be nothing more than second-round picks. Suns will be selling off both at their lowest value following Warren's injury and Jackson's inconsistencies on and off the court. Majority of the prospects they visited, they had visit them, were maybe in the late second-round range, which sounds ridiculous to think about because Josh Jackson, athletic, long slashing wing, had some incredible performances, had some horrible performances. He's just inconsistent is the perfect word to describe this man's performance. But if there's a team to take on an inconsistent player, I know those guys. Inconsistent, athletic, can't shoot. That's going to be a Thunder player. And then on the other hand, Warren learned how to shoot the 3-ball overnight. Offensively, he's gifted. Defensively, he is awful. The problem with him comes down to...
But like Sean mentioned, when I threw out my Bulls one in our mock, he said the Thunder need somebody when Russ and Paul George, if they go down,
can't make shots.
They need someone to make shots, and T.J. Warren could do that.
He can. He doesn't pass well, but he can make shots.
Well, I mean, Russ would be doing all the passing. He's got to get those tripped up numbers up, Dave.
I'm just saying, he's not quite a black hole of offense, but he is not looking to pass when the ball gets to his hands.
Russ passes it to him. He misses. Russ rebounds. Pass it to him. He misses. Russ rebounds. That's getting the tripped up numbers up. And then after a while, Russ just puts it in himself.
There you go.
See, the triple doubles are the key.
He has to make something to get an assist, though. It's not like hockey where you get the hockey assist.
Good point, but that's working the rebounds.
That's true.
The last one that they had, I'll just say it because they had three possible trades in their article.
Yep.
I could see this happening, but minus one big player.
Sure.
They had Thunder Cavs, and I could see it. Let's say the Cavs can't make a deal with the Celtics and end up picking at 5. I could see the Thunder getting closer to 21 saying, hey, you want this 21st pick? We can get JR off your books and into ours because then we could basically cut them and free up that cap space. But the trade that Hoops Habit had laid out is the Thunder would get Kevin Love and J.R. Smith. The Cavs get Steven Adams, Andre Robertson, and the 21st overall pick. I don't see this happening. I just don't. I feel like the Kevin Love thing is... Yes, there's some people that are like the Cavs could move him. This is the Thunder trying to give up cap space while getting better because I know K-Love and Russ were college roommates.
They're buddies. They're UCLA buddies.
I just see if the Thunder are going to trade this pick, they're going to trade to the Bulls for 2 guys who we know are not great, but they give us cap relief. Or the third trade I would have thrown out, the Sixers. Sixers give them 2 of their seconds.
They've got plenty.
And the Sixers get the 21st because there's rumors that the Sixers have promised Dylan Windler and are trying to add a second first to add Cam Johnson. To have Cam Johnson and Dylan Windler.
2 great shooters to add to the team. I don't know that Windler's worth a first-round pick, but if they're here and that he would go before their 30... What are they, 34, 35?
24.
No, what's their second-round pick? They've got the back-to-back
33.
picks. 33, 34?
Yeah, 33, 34, yeah. The last time I heard is they promised him at 24, whether that's true
ridiculous.
Or not. I mean, hey, if it's like a Lugan Stort with the Trailblazers and they like him, they go ahead and take him. Because
that's ridiculous.
What if they're offering 33 and 34 to get 21?
Maybe. But if they're not, I think he would be there at 33, 34. I don't know. Maybe that's taking a risk because you think Golden State or the Bucks would take him to add some spacing out there. So if you have that fear, the 76ers have the ammo. I 100% would pull that trigger.
Because they have the 33, 34, but even the 42 and the 54 as well. They have
got
4
so many
second rounders.
They can only draft and stash so many guys. So they'd be a good partner to trade up with.
Yeah, and that's to me, if I had to put my money on it, I would say Sixers are probably going to be the ones to make this deal and try to add 2 picks in that first round because of the guys that they like. But that's just the first one that I'll have. I mentioned the Cavs, so I'll throw this out there. Yeah. I know we talked about them trading with the Celtics. Let's say they don't. They take like a DeAndre Hunter at 5. Do you see the Cavs making a deal for a 3rd pick somewhere? And who could be a prime J.R. Smith draft pick kind of a trade if the Cavs don't get it done with the Celtics for the extra Celtic picks to move up to 5? Because I had the Hornets in our mock, but I only had that because, the Hornets also have some contracts that they want to try to get off the books, and they're going to have to re-sign Kemba this offseason.
But that's a pretty high pick to get for that kind of a trade-off. I would expect someone who's perhaps in a worse situation, looking at maybe, we just talked about OKC. They would be an interesting partner. But yeah, honestly, this draft class, or the way the draft falls out this year, I'm not sure that there is a fantastic partner for them later because you already have those teams in the back half of the draft. Like Brooklyn has money. They're not in trouble right now, but they could be a team if they're playing with contract slots where that flexibility, as they add Kyrie Irving, if they look to add another piece there and they're trying to play with contracts, because again, D'Lo for Kyrie's basically they're just straight up swapping max deals, just different points. They could be interesting. I don't know, though.
Because JR is 15.6 in the trade.
Right.
But then if they release him, it's about 3.8.
3.8.
So rounded up to 4.
Yeah.
So it's you don't have to pay him because it's not guaranteed. But in a trade, it's got that high kind of a value to it to where...
Who's got a bad deal, though, at that back half in my mind? Because I'm like, Boston, everybody's leaving on their own. You don't got to pay anybody to get out of town.
They're leaving willingly.
Utah... Derek Favors is the only one, and I think a lot of people in Utah like Derek Favors. It lets them play he's a great defender in the low post. He's just in the wrong era. They've got Gobert and him. That really shuts down low post scoring for other teams. But how valuable is it to have that flexibility contract wise? We already know they've basically told Rubio you're not a priority for us. So maybe if they try to make that deal happen, it opens up even more space for them. That could be an interesting one at 23, but I think they value their draft pick pretty highly. They're pretty good in the draft. So that would be an interesting risk-reward situation for them. Philly doesn't really have anything they're trying to get rid of. You said they're making 2 promises already, and that's not even a thing. They can even account to Portland. Portland, talk about bad contracts, but Luguentz Dort. So do you believe they want to move bad contracts or get the guy they potentially promised in Dort? Which one do you believe more heavily? Because that's the only team. Because otherwise you've got Cleveland, who doesn't care. They're the team with J.R. Smith. They're not going to trade themselves. That'd be silly. Brooklyn, Golden State, San Antonio, and Milwaukee. Milwaukee, maybe? That 30th pick?
I feel
you got Tony Snell's contract.
I feel like Milwaukee is going to make their pick.
It's I heard the rumor earlier. It was Snell, Ersan, and there was one other player who they were like, hey, if you want these guys, we'd love to not have to pay them.
Yeah.
So I think those are the 3.
True.
Milwaukee at 30 would be very interesting. Utah potentially with Derek Favors, and Portland, they've got a couple of guys.
I'm going to throw out a shocker, and I want to look at what his contract is before.
Sure.
I throw this out because this team has, I'll give a hint, this team has 2 picks. In the draft. You might have to send someone else their way.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they can make it work. There are rumblings that the Spurs may move on from DeMar DeRozan because of his contract.
There's got to be someone who wants to play with, or there's got to be someone who actually wants DeMar DeRozan. You can't just cap dump him.
I mean, could that be a deal? Would the
you
Spurs,
just traded for Kawhi Leonard?
Would a Spurs team be a team to say, hey, but that would be it. They'd have to use that pick in the Kawhi, either that pick in the Kawhi deal or their own, depending on which one they want. And it's like, but that defeats the purpose of us trading for him. We got that extra
he's
pick.
a good player. I don't think that you have to cap dump him. He's not Chris Paul bad levels of salary. He's not John Wall bad levels of salary.
Good point.
I think that he's a player who has value out there on the market. And if LA strikes out on free agency, maybe he's a backup plan.
For me, then for the Cavs, I almost see it as maybe a if we don't make a deal, if we don't make a deal with the Celtics, it's a Thunder or bust kind of a move.
You think 30's not worth it?
Well, Bucks and Thunder then if they're in because the whole
I could definitely
thing,
see the Bucks.
I'm kind of buying in on the thing of Cleveland wants to add at least one first this year.
They've got 2 already. You think they need 3 this year?
I feel like they want 3 this year.
They try to do what the Hawks did.
I think that's what they're because if
that's the game plan to follow.
If that wasn't the case, why would Dan Gilbert and the articles I've read have said have given the front office the okay to be aggressive?
Right.
Why would you do that?
So they're going to add Darius Garland. They're going to add someone else and someone else.
Yeah, probably.
Interesting.
Probably a 2, maybe 3, or then a center.
Well, that's the thing. If they go Garland at 5,
then they would go 3 with whatever pick they take. So
they would go with a 4 or 5. I would take
a 4 or 5. Let's say with the Thunder, then they can go with a Luka or a Cam Johnson or even a Grant Williams.
That would be interesting.
And then with the
I might go younger players. So those are.
And then with
Luka's younger, but Grant
with
is
the
older.
Rocket pick, they could go with either a Cabangeli, a Bruno. If Nicholas Claxton's still there, that would be a good deal.
Yeah.
At 26. Or if they like Chuma.
Chuma
could be
they're
there.
a team who could absolutely roll the dice. I will mock Chuma everywhere.
Every team, Chuma.
I'm sorry. I fell in love with this kid.
His Chuma.
I fell in love with the kid, and then I watched all of his tape from the regular season. I'm like, how haven't I heard of this man before the tournament? He's got so much skill. Had he not gotten injured, I think he would have probably been picked to 15.
And the thing that I'm looking at now is apparently there was a piece on The Athletic with Derek Favors.
Yes.
And the only the article I'm looking at doesn't say that his option has been declined.
Correct.
It's just that there are rumblings the Lakers could have interest in Derek Favors. So I'm like, is he not going to take his option and is going to be a free agent this offseason?
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I don't know if he did that in that Athletic article. I don't pay for The Athletic because I don't pay for things like that. Another trade I will throw out there, or idea of a trade, is does Bradley Beal get moved? Do you think? Okay. Is there a blockbuster deal like a Bradley Beal, a Clint Capella, one of those a Mike Conley? Does a big veteran get moved on draft night? Because I don't see it. Maybe a Mike Conley.
Conley's the only one that stands out. Bradley Beal, I think, is untouchable right now.
Unless
Wizards
the Celtics
are still
make a mega deal, like a Woj bomb of ultimate nuke promotions.
But they don't. I mean, unless they're including Jaylen Brown in that deal, I don't see the Wizards taking it.
They could offer Jaylen
Jaylen Brown, multiple firsts could get it done, but that would be insane. I don't think I have an interest in that. I think the Wizards still are trying to figure out the front office situation with the whole we totally didn't make an offer to Masai Ujiri. I don't know what you're talking about. We would never do that. He's definitely under contract still.
Yeah.
No tampering. No tampering. Definitely not cool. I don't see him getting moved. But I do think that Mike Conley could get moved. I think he's the interesting one because that is a team that is going in a different direction right now. They've got Jaren Jackson Jr., who is uber young. They're going to get John Morant at number 2 this year. They could add another couple of young pieces by moving Mike Conley, which would be very interesting. Whether it is the rumors from the Suns, like you brought up earlier, with Josh Jackson and TJ Warren, that could be interesting. I don't know. Maybe there's some other talent. Maybe there's some draft picks. I would say he's the only big name who could get moved on draft night because everything else seems like it's coming up everybody who's gotten dealt has moved, and the Lakers sound like they're opening up max cap space for someone in free agency.
Yeah.
Sounds like Pelinka's got something going up there. Concerns me a little, but we'll see what he's got.
Would I love it? Absolutely. Like the trade you had in our mock.
I love
Blake
my Blake
Griffin
trade.
going to the Celtics.
Y'all fucking haters.
I liked it because you had the balls to do something like that. I didn't, except for the AD one. But that one we all had inklings was probably going to happen.
Yep. Chris Paul getting moved on trade night. Everybody hears the turbulence. Dude,
I was actually throwing that out there. I actually had a conversation with Christian, one of the real MVPs out there, and I want to throw it your way because I want to get what you think. This has nothing to do with him getting traded, but it has to do with Chris Paul, and I want to get your take on it because let's see, where was it? So Christian said, I saw a tweet that he threw out, LMAO, all this news about how terrible the Rockets are makes me happy, knew that shit wouldn't work out. And I quoted it and said, can we start the narrative that CP3 isn't an ideal teammate to play with? Things got sour in LA before he got traded. Now they are getting sour in Houston. And Christian replied to that and said, I've always wondered why he didn't get the toxic label as fast as other players in the league. And then I threw out a, could it be because of his work with the Players Union? Because he was in all of that with the CBA and everything.
He's like Bizarro Garth Brooks. He's got friends in high places.
Yeah. So I'll ask you, is that the sole reason why people don't look at CP3 and think of him as a toxic player when I quoted Christian's tweet, I was just taking what you laid in front of me. Right. It got toxic when you left LA. It's getting toxic when you left Houston. Seems like both places it got kind of rocky. Yep. That's the definition of a toxic teammate. I think
he's just tough to get along with. Like the dude's got a passion.
You're Banana Boat.
He's got a passion for winning, and that's what you can say about all those guys on Team Banana Boat. All of them want to win more than anything else. Yeah. That was that simple. That was the one common thing they all had, and they were all in on. And I think that is the thing is when he doesn't get his way, you know, we talked about it with Blake Griffin being the star, really, and Chris Paul was a supplementary or complementary piece.
Same thing in Houston.
Same thing in Houston. It's Harden's team. Harden's the guy getting it done. You know, Chris Paul, there was some arguments over Harden, the amount of usage Harden had, and even when Chris Paul came back,
for a true point guard, I could
still pretty fucking high.
For a true point guard, I could see why you might be upset with that because you think of yourself as the point guard.
And that's the thing. For the last decade, he's been one of the best point guards in the league. And, we've upheld that, but he also hadn't won shit.
Yeah.
So I think that he's just a tough guy to get along with in the locker room. I wouldn't call him cancerous. He's not got, he hasn't split up a locker room as hard as we've seen from, Jimmy Butler.
And D-Wade.
Even though I respect Jimmy Butler for what he did.
You're talking the T-Wolves one.
The T-Wolves one. No, the Bulls one, we fucked him over enough.
The Bulls one, that's why I said D-Wade for that one.
D-Wade
pushed him.
He pushed him over the edge.
Yeah.
The Bulls front office, Garpax did terrible things to him. So no, that's not even on him. But I don't think Chris Paul's cancer. No. I think he's just rough to get along with, and due to the frustration of his own injuries holding them back from winning a championship in the last 2 years, that's got to be tough to weigh on his shoulders.
When I phrased it, I didn't say cancerous. That's why I'm like the ideal teammate.
Yeah.
Because the thing also, and I'll ask you, is I saw it and I laughed.
Yeah.
Because it's funny at this point, where it's basically a video of him and Harden, where it's basically like, hey, remember when this happened and no one batted an eye, and it's him and Harden arguing during a timeout? Well, D'Antoni's just like, I'm drawing up my clipboard here, and then after CP3's done, he's like, I'm gonna go see what Coach is doing, and leans over. Is that basically? I'll do the jump or the Jalen thing. Is that nothing, something, or everything?
It's nothing. It happens every day between all level of players. You can get in arguments with guys on the court about anything, especially during timeout, something that just happened. There's a million different reasons, and it happens all the time. It's nothing.
In this situation, I'm going to say it's something. It's not everything, but it's something, because if you're not getting along, and it's James Harden has come out and said, yeah, we're not getting along.
Yep.
Basically, I look at that and go, maybe things were boiling over, and it was basically the Golick and Greeny thing of things were boiling over. It got to a point, but the public never saw it. Did a nice job at keeping it in-house.
They chose not to see it, maybe.
And with some teams, it's hard to keep that in-house because it just comes out and just spews out. The last one I'll ask you is we'll double back to the Suns. Yes or no, or percentages, however you want to answer it, that Jackson and Warren get traded for second-round picks. Do we see that happen?
I don't think it's that low.
Draft?
That seems way too low to sell on them. I think they're worth more than that, even if they have underperformed or there's injury concern with T.J. Warren. That just seems too low. Honestly,
you said second rounders, and
that's
I was like, I know, and I was
that's
like,
what the tweet said.
I was like, what the hell?
My first thought, I'm reading
second rounders.
It was great because when that first tweet came out, it was like, oh, they're on the block, they're available for people, and people are like mocking like Mike Conley deals and this other stuff. And then like 10 minutes later, it's like second round. She's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, like the
like
sky
is the
is
Suns front office like gone full? Like what?
Well, James Jones. Anything's possible.
I don't know. Maybe our evaluation skills are off. Maybe their evaluation skills are off. I think that they get traded. I don't think they get traded for second rounders. Okay, that seems extreme.
So you're leaning more towards that T.J. Warren one we talked about earlier, maybe the Thunder.
I like that one. I think the Thunder are going to be big players on draft day or leading up to draft day.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how they move that 21st because I totally think that one's getting done. But you guys let us know what you guys think down below about anything we talked about today. But if you're on YouTube, let us know what you think about these trades. What ones could you see happening? Also, let us know what you think about the Bulls. Let us know what you think about the Culver and Darius Garland, not Darius, not Jarius, how other names we've pronounced him. Darius Garland, let us know what you think about those guys. Make sure to check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/mostvaluable-podcast. Make sure to like us and review, or actually it's review and rate us on Apple Podcasts. And the big one, come and hang out with us the night of the draft, 5:30. We're starting twitch.tv/mostvaluable-podcast. Sean, Dave, myself, going to be chilling, having a good time. We getting pizzas again, like the NFL one?
We might have to.
Because I would really like that. Just get one of those Sicilians, one of those pepperoni pizzas we like to eat here. It's really a good time. But I want to thank you guys for digesting our content, however it is, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on podcast services around the world. And as always, have a good day, everybody.